Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news where we've got some A-star information on why it's going wrong at Manchester United and why Ten Hag's transfer dream is currently in tatters and fast turning into a nightmare. We will be talking about that. Probably detail you don't like, but at least it gives you some clarity on why things are going wrong at Manchester United, and you can guarantee things behind the scenes are not what Richard Arnold said a week ago. Things are not structured. Things are not in place. We are not looking at a very good transfer window as things stand today. But with a little bit of topical news as well, Alex Crook of TalkSport is saying that the Eriksen deal is looking like it will happen. And Fabrizio Romano also talking about Anthony and some updates around that. So if you're looking for some topical positivity this morning, we do have some stories about Eriksen and Anthony to bring you, but let's bring you some reality, some cold, harsh reality of what's going on at Manchester United. The reality is we're not signing any players and other clubs are. The reality is that we don't know what we're doing. The reality is that the out-of-office replies are on again this weekend as United struggle to do any transfer business. But it's the whys that people want to know. And in effect, United don't, in a sentence, Man United don't have a plan B. They have a plan A and they do not have a plan B, and they are struggling. If you look at Manchester United and you think about the plan that we thought we had, the structured plan, the structure, the process, the journey that Manchester United have put out there that they don't have one. The cold, harsh fact of Manchester United's transfer strategy this summer is this. The reason that we are waiting on De Jong is because Manchester United heard in late April that Barcelona were looking to sell De Jong. And we were the only club that stepped forward and went, yeah, we'd be interested in doing that deal. And ever since that day, Man United have sat there waiting, not physically, but, to visualise. United have been sat outside the Nou Camp for the last 2 months, waiting for Barcelona to sell the player that's going to build our whole team and our whole summer. Our plan is not structured. Our transfer strategy is not dynamic and it is not proactive. It is a reactive transfer strategy based solely around one player and based solely around when Barcelona want to sell. Barcelona have got Manchester United like that, and they can squeeze and twist and do whatever they like. Barcelona, and this is, look, I'm not getting this information from Manchester United, I'm getting this information from Spain. Barcelona have known for the last 2 months that they can keep Man United waiting for as long as they want because United have got nowhere else to go. Ten Hag really wants De Jong. United really want De Jong. Not only because he's a good player, but from a United point of view, they get to go, yeah, look at us. We've done it again. We can do things other teams dream of. We can't, but United still think shirt sellers, big signings are what make you relevant. United are all in on this deal. It's all or nothing with Frenkie de Jong, and Barcelona know it. And this nonsense that United are negotiating a better price, we're negotiating nothing. We're waiting for Barcelona to say they're ready to sell. And the reason Barcelona are waiting is because they're trying to sort out economic levers, as we know, but they're also trying to sort out other deals. Barcelona want to do deals with Lewandowski and Koundé, Sevilla and Bayern Munich, and they don't want to do those deals when Bayern Munich and Sevilla know they've just received 70 million for Frenkie de Jong. They're trying to get deals in. It's the old classic routine. You get, when you know you're selling a player, you get players in before so that when you're buying players, clubs don't know that you've just received a big cheque. So United's plan this summer that they lied to us about and spoke about proactive scouting and a new strategy, United's plan is not proactive, it is reactive. We are basically sat there for 2 months waiting on Barcelona, and that's why we don't get many updates about bids being rejected and this, that and the other, because the fee is probably not really in question. The delay is Barcelona trying to sort other things out before they sell De Jong. So Man United have basically become this summer Barcelona's lapdog. Barcelona know it, and they know we won't walk away because we can't walk away, because if we walk away we've got nothing else to go for, and if we walk away we humiliate ourselves in a new summer with a new manager and a new CEO in front of the fan base who don't trust them anyway. We are all in on Frenkie de Jong, and that is why we are sat here. And it's about time fans realised what is going on. There is no strategy. There is no plan. We are not being proactive. We are being reactive, and all our summer is about Frenkie de Jong and waiting on Barcelona. And the club can't move away from it. because they've committed to something that they probably thought they would get De Jong done a couple of weeks ago, but now they've been hanging around for so long, they've got to wait. It's like being in a queue to the airport and it's hours long, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. But you've been queuing so long. It's like a fairground, isn't it? You've queued so long, you may as well wait it through now, and we have to wait it through. Every statement United released contained the words meetings or financial plan structure. Basically, the wording a business uses, proof the Glazers only see us as a business and not a football club, says Michael T. I think we need to write off this season, says Matthew, but I am hopeful that Erik ten Hag will make good of what we have. I mean, that's a horrible thought, Matthew, but there you go. United couldn't sign a piece of paper right now, says Adam. So look, I think it's important when you get this information that I know for a fact is very, very good, just clear your thoughts. Calm yourself down. Stop thinking that we're negotiating a fee. We're not negotiating a fee. We're not negotiating a fee. It doesn't take 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 9 weeks, however long you want to say it is to negotiate a fee. We are waiting on Barcelona to say you can have De Jong now. That's what the case is. That's why we won't do any other business. And that's why we're in a complete and utter mess. I can tell you also as well, Garner looking for first team game time. Garner and Donny as a pair can do a decent job. Yuri, I don't want to talk about stuff like that. With all due respect to you, Yuri, you're lowering the standards. I don't want to talk about stuff like that, and I'm sure there's many people who agree. Why are you giving them an excuse? This is where I agree with the really hardcore Glazer out people who say, we basically get what we deserve with the Glazers because we find ways to make it okay. And that's what you're doing, Yuri. You're going, we've had a shit transfer window, but you know what? Let's try Garner and Donny and see how it works. It's like someone coming and bulldozing your house down and saying, oh, there's some wood in my garden. If I put it up in a certain place, it'll keep me dry. We shouldn't be doing that. Not when owners are taking 30 million out of the club in the last 6 months. We shouldn't be going, well, we could get by with Garner and Donny. The Glazers will be going, look at these idiots. Look at these idiots. We've literally just landed £11 million in our bank account and they're talking about building a midfield with what they've got. Get another 11 million. We're laughing. Does De Jong solve all our midfield problems? I don't think so, says Ami. We need a CDM. Well, I agree with you on that one, but what I want to talk about is why the transfer strategy is in a mess, because we don't have a strategy. We've got no plan B. Everything is about De Jong. We're Manchester United. We're in the hands of Barcelona. We've got no other strategy. We've got no other plan. We've got nowhere else to go. It's all or nothing on De Jong. And if we don't get De Jong, we're screwed because there's nowhere else to go. Basically, Man United scouted a load of players. Erik ten Hag came in the middle of May. Manchester United said, what do you think? He said, no. And that is why he's gone with players he knows, like Anthony, De Jong and Timber and Martinez. That is why he's gone with those sort of players. If he doesn't get those players, he doesn't have any backups. He wanted Darwin Núñez. We didn't get him. We're not going for anyone else because there is no backup. We're not going for a striker. He wants Frenkie de Jong. If we don't get Frenkie de Jong, there is no backup. They might buy Ruben Neves, but it's not really who United want, and it's not who Ten Hag wants. He wanted Timber. We don't get Timber. We're going for another Ajax centre-back. It just shows you how limited our transfer targets are and how we don't have plan Bs. Because, we don't get Timber, so let's go for the next Ajax centre-back. There's no let's go and get Ndiki from Eintracht Frankfurt or Badashil from Monaco or even Pau Torres. It's no, let's go and get another Ajax centre-back. Anthony, let's go and get Anthony. If we don't get Anthony, we won't buy a winger. We've got no plan B. We've got no big plan. It's all very basic. And I don't blame Erik ten Hag as well. I want this to be made very, very clear. Since when, and I know a lot about Ten Hag, and I'm sure you know a lot about Ten Hag. Tell me the evidence that Ten Hag is a transfer guru. Tell me the evidence that Ten Hag knows how to spend £100 million at a big club. That's not what he is. At Ajax, he had people like Mark Overmars and Van der Sar and other people. And they weren't even a massive club with massive budgets. Ten Hag cannot solve a transfer window. He is a coach. He is a football coach. He coaches players. He's not here to rescue a transfer window. That's not what he is here for. And he hasn't got the CV for that. He isn't that type of a manager. He's not a transfer expert. He's not a transfer guru. He doesn't go out there and buy the players. There are some managers who do that, but not really. And there are some managers that have got great knowledge of the transfer market. That's not really what Erik ten Hag's about. Erik ten Hag is a coach. So we're a mess. We're basically a mess. He's given them a list and they're not providing it. And what I can also tell you as well is that United's original plan was to get Antony and De Jong for 100 million. They genuinely thought they were going to get Antony and De Jong for 100 million. Not a chance now, but that's what they thought. That's where the 40 million for Antony was coming from, and they thought they could get De Jong for 60. Their plan was, because the budget's not that big, was De Jong and Antony for 100 million. Well, at least 140 million now. At least 140 million, because Ajax have bumped the price up. So I don't know. I don't know where we're going to end up. I still firmly believe that we'll sign players, and I'm absolutely convinced we will get De Jong in the end. But we won't get De Jong because we've negotiated a fair price. I guarantee you, United and Barcelona have known what they're getting and paying for De Jong for about a month. I think we've had that fee sorted out for a long time. I think all these stories about new bids and everything like that, I think the bid will be, as I said a couple of days ago, the official bid, which should be going in any time, will be 75 million euros with 10 million add-ons. That's what I think we'll end up paying, about 64 million quid. I think that's been agreed for a long time. I think that this negotiation back and forth and this pantomime that we're playing through the journalists, I don't believe it. I think the reality is that we've always known that we'll get De Jong when Barcelona are ready to give us. And they might not be ready for another week. They might not be ready for another 2 weeks. But that's what's going to happen there. Does De Jong solve all our midfield problems? No, I don't think he does, Ami. The longer we wait, the more expensive our targets get and less likely we are to sell players, says Tom. Goz says, all is Barcelona's fault. Can't Ten Hag coach any other players than Dutch. Why should all the other clubs bend over for Man United? Just pay what they want. Andreas says, De Jong is a strategic play from business for positive spin during the summer. Done this time and time again. I don't know what as fans of the club can do. We voiced our opinions and dividends were still taken. We're supporting a club the wrong way, says Arjun. And Blink says, Ten Hag isn't a recruiting manager and this is why Ralph was so important, says Blink. I agree with you on that. I wanted to come and watch our exciting rebuild and one of Ronaldo's last games in a United shirt this year, but I feel that we'll be beaten 3-0 every week. I don't think that will happen, Mark. I do think we'll be a better team under Erik Ten Hag because he is a coach. But I don't think this is anywhere near good enough for what Manchester United should be doing. And I do agree with that previous point there, that it's not Barcelona's fault. It's not Barcelona's fault. It's not Barcelona's fault that they've got United like that. Like, we are basically Barcelona's bitch at the moment, and that's why everything's on hold. Man United, the thing that appalls me is that I like De Jong, and I think he's a fantastic player, but I feel lied to because this summer was meant to be new manager, new CEO, new director of football, Man United building their reputation back, showing that we're a proper football club and making us act like a proper football club. And what have we done? We've done what we've done previously with Dortmund and other clubs and Leicester. We've gone to Barcelona and built our whole summer around one signing, and Barcelona know it. Barcelona know it. They know how desperate we are. They know we're not going to walk away, and they're playing us because they've got the power. It's like a cat when it catches when it's playing with its little ball and it's just rolling it around all over the place. That's Barcelona with United. We've got nowhere to go. We can't go anywhere. It's the last room at the inn for Manchester United. There's nowhere else to go, and Barcelona, quite rightly, are going, right, we know we've got a guaranteed 65 million coming in from Man United. We need to get players in before we announce that deal, because if Barcelona know we've got 65 million, they're going to say they want 50 million for Lewandowski, and then how do we get Koundé? So they need to drive the bargains with the players they want first, and United are just having to wait like Barcelona's little bitch. And that's not, and I don't care what anybody says, I really do like Frenkie de Jong, but that's not the way a big football club acts. You don't become another big football club's bitch. You don't become... that's not a new Man United. That's not an aggressive, ruthless, efficient Manchester United to be waiting on Barcelona for half of the bloody transfer window. And I know the transfer window is officially open for 12 weeks and it's only open for 2 so far, but the season finished in mid-May. United act like they're surprised that every summer there's this transfer window thing that you can plan for. Like, we are completely... And look, I don't take any pleasure giving you this, but it's A-star information. United's summer is not this big plan of excellence and efficiency. It basically is sit down and wait till Barcelona sell us De Jong because we've got nowhere else to go. basically, it's a bit like a charity shop, isn't it? We're waiting on somebody else to deliver some stuff that we can wear, and that's what United have decided to do. To be honest, Mark, what fans do, I've already boycotted everything United rated from 2016, says Jay. I think the club are relying on a manager to coach these players. I don't know why we thought we will have a massive rebuild relying on development, says Arjun. Mate, look, time and time again we fear this, time and time it gets proved. I feel that Manchester United... Look, I went on a lads' holiday when I was about 17. We went to Magaluf in Mallorca. If people don't know what Magaluf is, it's an experience. Literally, you're in a bubble for a week where it's just every night you're on this strip. There's loads of bars, drink this, everything. The sights you see, it's amazing. It's like being a kid in a sweet shop when you go on that first lads' holiday in Mallorca. We didn't have a bloody clue what we were doing. We went to places we never should have gone. We got into, we spent money on things. It was crazy. We thought we were specialists. We were absolute amateurs. I feel like United's have got all the intent and all the desire, and they've got all the, then they really want to deliver, but they are like a group of lads on their first lads holiday. They don't know what to do. Their eyes are all over the place. There's no specialism. There's no experience there. And I feel that that's what the problem is with Manchester United. And I think many people fear it as well. And I think we get the evidence of it as well. We're just not good at running this football club. We just don't have the right people in the football club. And that is why you will get people employing people like Ten Hag and saying, get the best out of Rashford, get the best out of Luke Shaw, get the best out of Maguire. And they probably genuinely think Erik Ten Hag can turn water into wine. There is probably people in positions of power at that football club who think that squad we've got at the moment, if you add De Jong and one other, can win the league. And that is terrifying. And I'm not saying that to be controversial. I genuinely think that the evidence is there over the last 9 years anyway. They think our squad is good because they pay them title-winning wages. They're not good enough. They're not good enough. I remember saying in May, we need a sacrificial lamb. And what I meant by that is a big player needs to be sold that nobody's expecting. Whether that's Maguire, Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford. Somebody like that needed selling this summer. They can't even sell Bailly and Jones. What chance have we got of selling somebody that deserves to be sold as a statement for a new United? This is not a new United. It is just words. It's words. We've become a political club that talks nonsense and cannot deliver. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then it's the same old nonsense because they don't know how to deliver. And unfortunately, that is where we are at the moment. And I think we're going to have problems. I still think we could have a decent transfer window, but ultimately, until Barcelona want to sell us De Jong, we can't move forward. And every day, in fact, it's too late anyway, but even when we get De Jong done, where does he go if he doesn't get Anthony? He just doesn't get a winger. There's no other winger after Anthony, by the way. Rafinha's not coming to United. There's no other winger for Manchester United if they don't get Anthony. Just like there was no other striker if we didn't get Darwin Núñez. The only reason there's another centre-back when we didn't get Timber is because he's gone, actually, that Lissandro's not bad. And we may not get Lisandro Martinez because Arsenal are going through their transfer business very efficiently. Arsenal had a plan at the start of the summer, which was that Vieira, Jesus, Rafinha, Lisandro Martinez. They've had this plan for a long time. So United have gone, shit, we can't get Timber, maybe we want Lisandro, but we've got to wait on De Jong. And they've got Arsenal just persistently knocking on the door saying, we want this player, here's the money. And Ajax might get that, and then we're in big trouble because I can't see Ajax selling another player after that. So, yeah, it isn't looking good. They can rescue it, but the thing is, and I would always say this to anybody, is you cannot write this story, we did not go for Núñez due to the amount, now we're going to panic and overweight regardless who we buy, says Gaz. That's where I was actually going to go, Gaz. Do you think there will be an embarrassment on United's behalf when they announce De Jong after how long it's taken to get him? No, Ewan, they'll love it. They'll love it. They'll think they've done the deal of the century when they announce De Jong. They'll hype it. They'll probably have the head of social media with De Jong in front of the Stretford end, and he'll be on his phone running around going, yee yee, do the Sue, get Ronaldo on, Sue, come on. They'll hype it to Kingdom Come, they will. But as I said last night, when we signed De Jong, if we signed De Jong, I'm already thinking, what's the next deal? Because we're already playing catch up. De Jong is Liverpool's Núñez and Man City's Haaland. They were done weeks ago. What if United did walk away and bought Lema and Neves instead of De Jong? Wouldn't Barcelona be screwed? Well, long noodle, you could do that, but we've got no strategy to do that. There is no plan B for Manchester United. Remember we were getting 2 midfielders? The reason we're not being linked to any other second midfielder because there isn't one. The reason there's no alternative to Anthony because there isn't one. The reason there's no one else to go after Darwin Núñez is because there isn't one. If we don't get De Jong, we'll do something desperate. We will not end up in a situation... I do see some people, and I'm sure you see them as well, and maybe you are like this, and you'll read it or you'll see it in the chat and they'll go, oh, we're just not going to sign anyone. We're not going to sign anybody. That is not going to happen with United. Like, even when this summer we didn't get Sancho, we went and choked 40 million on Pellistri and Ahmad. Like, we will throw the money somewhere. United will buy because they cannot buy nobody. The scary thing is what we'll do with that money when we've missed out on the players that Ten Hag actually wanted and where we'll throw it. That's what fears me, because I'm convinced we'll get De Jong, 90%. I still think we'll get Anthony, but I have to take on board what Romano said this morning as well, that Anthony wants Ajax to listen to deals, at least listen to what the offers are, but Ajax are like they want ridiculous money for him. So I don't know how we do that Anthony deal anymore. I don't think Ajax are messing about when they're saying they don't want to sell and they want massive money. And we won't pay massive money for De Jong, so we're not going to pay massive money for Anthony. We wouldn't pay an extra 5 million for Perisic when Mourinho really wanted him. We offered 40, Inter wanted 45, and we wouldn't go up. Even though Mourinho was like, this player is essential to my plans next season, Man United wouldn't do it. And I think that was the summer we just won the Europa League as well. So it just shows you this club and these owners, they won't just pay the money the manager wants. They will back off. They will. Van Hal has it right. We are not a football club, says Liam. And hi Mark, do you think there is more to our financial situation than we think? 500 million in debt and rising and profits falling. Worried about the future of this club. We need to do something, all of us, says Jack. The club is a massive club. The club is a massive club, but it cannot survive with this theme where the fan base are unhappy and where the club is underperforming. It can't survive, not with that level of debt and not with that level of outcome, what I would call it, that the Glazers take from the club. But that's, that's strategic, that's financial. We're talking about a summer transfer window here. And look, there's a story, as I said, from Alex Crook in Talk Sport this morning saying that Manchester United are increasingly confident that they're going to get Christian Eriksen. I wonder how much money we are chucking at Eriksen in wages to avoid another embarrassment of him staying at Brentford. I was told middle of last week, I did the video, that Eriksen to Manchester United is highly likely. But the fact that we've had to persuade him and the fact that he's actually thought about staying at Brentford just shows you how bad a club we are in negotiation and in pull. Like, it's Brentford. I know they've done a great thing for Christian Eriksen, but Erik ten Hag had Christian Eriksen training at Ajax after his issues with his heart as well. So, look, it can't just be that Eriksen's loyal to Brentford because they gave him a chance. Like, Ten Hag had him training at Ajax as well. There's a relationship there. This is a genuine, is it right for me to go to Manchester United, or am I better off staying in London playing at Brentford every week? Like, he's genuinely thought it through. Do you think he would genuinely think it through going to Liverpool or Man City or Chelsea or even Spurs? I think if Spurs wanted him, he was going to go to Spurs, but they don't want him. So we are competing with Brentford for Eriksen, and he's thinking it through. We will win that because Brentford will probably offer him 100 grand a week at most, and we'll offer something like 150 or 200. So, because he's a free transfer. So we will get Eriksen because we will pay him ridiculous money to come. But is it enough? I like Eriksen. I think he's better than a lot of the players that we've got. But he's still a player I used to watch for Spurs who can't beat the first man from a corner. And he's still an attacking midfielder when we need 2 midfielders, a centre-back, a left-footed right winger, a full-back and a striker. I like the signing of Eriksen, but it doesn't massively excite me. It's a nice to have. It doesn't excite me because I'm sort of like, you're buying a player in a position where actually we're well stacked. Bruno, Donny, Garnacho, Mabry. There's 4 players that can do the job that Eriksen's going to do. Maybe not as well, but what happens to those 4 players if you bring Eriksen in? Like, ironic, isn't it? When the Premier League club is sold now, there is new clause, the Glazers clause, where owners cannot take dividends out of the club, says David. I've done that one from Jack. Nicholas says, Eriksen said he wants to stay in London. Only huge wage can get him to us, says Nicholas. And you know what, Nicholas, as well? You make a great point. We are now... Eriksen has to be persuaded. Timber has to be persuaded and has actually been unpersuaded. De Jong has to be persuaded. The only player that really wants to come to this football club is Anthony. And Ajax is saying you're not having him. So look, I mention that simply because is it an indication that we're going for the wrong players? Because there are plenty of players that want to come to Manchester United. Like, we're just going for players that probably don't, which is a bit odd because it's completely the opposite of what Rangnick said. Rangnick said you need to get players in who are hungry and ready to take the next step. We are buying players that they're not that hungry to come to the club. And there are players who'd love to come to United. Like, I could list loads and loads and loads and loads of players. Like, there's loads. That Vieira who went to Arsenal, he'd love to come to United. Vitina would love to come to United. Loads of players we've been linked to. Botman, who's gone to Newcastle, he'd love to come to United. Like, they're not turning United down because we're crap. We're just going for players that I think the manager wants, but they don't necessarily want to come to us. Which could be great, but could be an issue. Mark, have we signed Jesus? Get the champagne and cigars ready. Rafina next. Ronaldo should be joining us. You're doing good business at Arsenal, Zane. I think Erik Ten Hag won't last as long as Moyes. Far weaker squad, plus much harder league. He's been set up to fail, says Mason. I'm watching United play Palace in Melbourne for my first ever game, and I was so hyped to see Erik Ten Hag, but not so much now with the lack of new players. Wade, I feel, it's our first proper tour post-COVID, and... it will be a great experience for people who go on the tour because, and we're going on the tour. We've got people going on the tour, but because Ronaldo's going to be there, and some of our fans love and idolise some of these players that they don't deserve to be idolised. I'm not talking about Ronaldo there. I'm talking about some of the players that people will be queuing up for their picture, and actually they were shit last year. But there will be a lot of buzz and excitement on the tour. But you really should, I agree, have people on the tour who are new signings. Now, there's probably a good chance De Jong will be on the tour, to be fair, because we don't go on tour until, is it like the 10th of July or something like that? So we're still 2 weeks away from going on that. And I do think that Barcelona will get something done next week. But, yeah. Now, when we have all the facts, what can we do with it? Mark, how can our voice be higher as fans? It's depressing, says Joseph. Was something I wanted to bring in here. Yeah, I just wanted to say this as well. I can't not say this, and I wish I'd said it earlier. I mean, look, some people might not be massively interested in this, but I do want to say it because I think it's important, and you can do what you like with it. But I won't forget this. There are many journalists close to Manchester United. I know the names. We mention them a lot on here. Not one of them did a piece on the Glazers yesterday. Not one of the people that are really close to Manchester United did a piece on the Glazers yesterday. Their outlets did, but it wasn't them. Like the Athletic did one, the Manchester Evening News did one, I think a couple of other outlets did one, but it wasn't the Man United correspondent. The main Man United correspondent didn't write it. And I'm disgusted by that. I really am disgusted because they've outed themselves as what we fear they are. Terrified of the club, terrified of upsetting people within that club. And that shows you that nothing's changed at Manchester United, because under Ed Woodward... under Manchester United, under Ed Woodward, if you upset them, they block you. They won't give you information. They won't give anything. If you say something bad about how that club's run, you are out. It's obviously still the same, because all these journalists who even yesterday were leaking stories about transfers, none of them had the balls to write a proper story about the disgrace that is the Glazers and how they've taken £11 million out before they've signed any players, and how this summer transfer window is descending into chaos. None of them have sat down and wrote a piece on how embarrassing it is to bring in an external lawyer to negotiate transfers on a short-term contract at the end of June. None of them will write a piece about the truth. And that is why journalism in football is dead. Because there's very few journalists now that actually do the job they went to university to learn about. They don't actually do investigative journalism. They do tap-in journalism where they'll ring up the club and the club will say, yeah, you might want to put this out, and they'll go, yeah, don't worry, we'll do it. Tap-in journalists. That's what we've got all around Manchester United. Nobody. And people take the piss out of websites and fan channels and everything like that. But if you take those websites away and you take these fan communities away, imagine what you'd be waking up to today. Mainstream media drip feeding you tap-in journalism fed to them by people within the club. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. People within that football club need to look at who really cares about the football club, and that's you, the fans. They need to communicate better, and they need to stop spinning. Recruiting people to spin for your PR is a joke. If you need to do that, you're hiding something. Now, I don't really know the true story about what happened with Neil Ashton. A lot of people still mention the name. We never hear of him, but this was a few years ago. Apparently United recruited Neil Ashton. He was a journalist who used to run the Sunday supplement on Sky Sports. He was apparently recruited to mastermind United's PR. If you've got to recruit someone to do that, that's because you're telling lies. If you've got to spin PR positivity, that's because you're not doing things well, isn't it? But I think it's a disgrace. I think it's a disgrace that yesterday, very few people, apart from fan community, actually called out the fact. And that dividend did get paid, by the way. That dividend of 11 million did get paid. The Glazers took it. It's the first expenditure of the summer. It's a car crash of a summer so far. And yet, these journalists who want all the credibility when they're putting out there about De Jong and this, that and the other, cannot get off their arse and type something actually pure and honest about the way this great football club is being run into the ground by people who don't love football and love money, and i.e. the Glazers. They are and have outed themselves as not journalists, as people who actually may as well be on the Glazer payroll, because you are facilitating them by not exposing them. And I was disgusted yesterday by the lack of coverage that got. Everybody's, if United signed De Jong tonight, everybody will be doing it. Every outlet will be doing it. They'll all want a piece of the pie. They'll all want a piece of Manchester United Football Club, and they've signed De Jong. But none of them dare write a piece about what actually goes on about the club when the evidence is right in front of them. This is not speculation. They took 11 million quid out the club yesterday. We are in debt of hundreds of millions of pounds. We have done nothing in the transfer window. We have recruited a lawyer to come in and help us do transfers at the end of the June because we are failing. We are sat outside the new camp waiting for Barcelona to give us a player they don't want. That's our transfer strategy. The evidence and facts are there, and you're all sat there doing nothing because you don't want to not be invited on the tour, or you don't want access, or you don't want to not get fed a bit of information. Shame on you. That's not journalism. I'm sorry, it's not journalism. You're better than that. Some of you are very good. But why can't you be proper journalists? Why is the club run in a way where if you talk about how badly it's run, you're castigated? Have you ever thought that the people talking about how badly the club is run are the people who actually care about the club, and you lot are facilitating the Glazers? Ignorance is not an option. It's not an excuse. We can talk about very serious things through history where people will go, well, I didn't really realise they were like that. I'm talking about evil dictatorships and things like that. People sort of turned a blind eye. Oh, I didn't realise it was that bad. I mean, on a very different level, it's the same thing. Ignorance is not an excuse. You can't say, oh, I didn't write an article about it because I didn't realise they were bad. You didn't write an article about it because you don't want to upset people in the club. And people in the club, you can't pretend you're good guys and good women when you are working for them. You're all accountable. And that is why we as fans talk about it, because we can't sleep at night going, this is okay. We can't sleep at night knowing the history of this football club and what it stands for. We can't sleep at night thinking about Charlton, Law and Best, thinking about the Busby Babes, thinking about Sir Matt Busby, thinking about Brian Robson, thinking about the Sir Alex Ferguson years. We can't think about those pure, unadulterated, passionate moments of our club and go, it's fine that the Glazers are doing what they're doing. But journalists can. People working at the club can. And yet we're the villains. We're the villains because we call it out. We're the hyperbole. We're the hysterical people. We're the people that, we're the shit on the shoe. Sorry. We can sleep at night knowing that we are calling it out. You lot, you're just facilitators. And I was disgusted yesterday by the lack of these people who sit in press conference who didn't dare write an article about, you're basically bowing down to dictators. That's what you're doing. You're bowing down to the club and the Glazers by not writing something about what was an appalling day for Manchester United yesterday. And on top of that, it's not just the dividend. How have you not analysed this story about parachuting in a lawyer to help us with transfers as well? So look, I wanted to get that off my chest because I think it's disgusting. I think it's absolutely disgusting. And look, we'll be talking about some of these informations that these journalists get because it's good information. But none of them could be asked yesterday to do what needed to be done. And that's not journalism, is it? Do we start pre-season on Monday? How ridiculous that all the players we want will be starting pre-season with their current club, says Andrew Myers. And as much as I don't like Manchester United, I don't know what somebody just said there, here we go. As much as I don't like United, this is actually becoming sad, says Newt. The Glazers using United to prop up their other sport franchises, it's bonkers really. Yeah, and we're absolutely helpless to do it because, to be honest with you, it's only the fans who talk about it. The media, the journalists, the ex-players, they all stay quiet, don't they? And the ex-players could do more. Do you think Man United board... I mean, Gary Neville says stuff, to be fair, but, Gary Neville's got his finger on the pulse of political issues, and this is quite a political issue with Manchester United. I mean, didn't Ferdinand back the Glazers quite recently as well? I mean, didn't he want a job with them or something a couple of years ago? No, that was Mike Ashley, wasn't it? Which... Well, if he thinks Mike Ashley's okay, God knows what he really thinks. Do you think Man United board and journos are delusional? I remember Mark Ogden criticising Ralph Rangnick's policy of signing 10 to 20 million players. He said it's not the Manchester United way, says Rimbic. Mate, I think... Look, I think they're all drinking in the same pub. I think they're all scratching each other's back. I think that's what... There is a culture at Manchester United that is jobs for the boys. And I think that extends to the journalistic world as well. Sir Alex Ferguson, the journalists traditionally used to be on the same flight as the players. There used to be a great relationship, years and years ago. But the world's changed now. Social media, access to clubs. Journalists need to be independent, but they're still stuck in the world of the past where, you're having a beer with someone at the club and this, that and the other. I don't mean they're literally having a beer, but, the relationships are very, very close. But football's big business now. And they don't want to reflect the fact that that means there needs to be scrutiny and accountability. Hi, Mark. I think next season will start really bad and we'll go down from there, says Crixus. I'm not convinced by that. I do think that Ten Hag will get us playing better. But I'm very interested to see what this summer transfer window will bring. Chris says I'm a moaner. Mate, fuck off. Seriously. I'll say it for the rest of the chat. Get out and do one. Like if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. If you think this is acceptable, you're probably a bloody Arsenal fan anyway. Sod off, Chris. Elon Musk should buy us, says IVI, and we are breeding an increasingly timid population that don't have the balls to call anything out. Journalists and ex-players show it, says haha. Look, maybe you're right. I'm from a generation where I vaguely remember a lot of strikes and everything in the 80s. I think people do just accept things now. I can't believe what people accept, actually. People are manipulated massively, aren't they? And that's why I love this sort of a community because, people can say and do what they want. And, within reason, abusers will be kicked out because that's just stupid. But, it is about having opinions, but people don't really want to follow it through. I don't want to sit here and say what needs to be done at Manchester United. That's never my aim. I don't want to be a voice for the fans. I don't want to organise things. I don't want to do stuff like that because it's it takes a different type of person to do that. I just want to talk about football. I want to talk about my football club. And I find it really, really difficult. But the whole purpose of the video this morning was to give you A-star information as to why Manchester United's transfer window is in tatters. And the reality is we have no plan. We are not being proactive. In fact, no, let me correct that. We do have a plan, but we don't have a proactive, structured, flexible plan. It's a very much... And look, I suppose I'll put it in a very simplistic way. If you think about Man City, they're aggressively going out and getting the players they want. Haaland, Phillips, Cucurella, maybe they'll get others. They've got a plan in place and they're going out efficiently and aggressively getting the players they want from clubs that probably don't really want to sell them, and they're getting them for good prices. Manchester United's plan should be like that. Manchester United's plan is, we've heard that Barcelona want to sell De Jong. No one else wants him, but what a signing he would be. Yeah, let's get him. When are they going to sell us? Don't know. Are you going to sell him? Yeah, we will sell you. When? Shut up. We'll sell him to you when we're ready. Okay, we'll be good. And they're waiting in a waiting room for Barcelona to say we can have De Jong. And that's Man United's whole summer transfer window. Our whole strategy is waiting on Barcelona. And Barcelona have got us like that. And they know it. They know we won't walk away. They know we'll pay the price. And we might get, can I just say as well, we may get De Jong for like 64 million, 75 million euros. And people will go, oh, that's great negotiating. Don't fall for it. This is nothing to do with negotiations. We haven't been negotiating. We are waiting for Barcelona have basically said to United, we'll sell you De Jong. We've got to do some things before we do. And that is sorting out some financial situations and also sorting out some signings. United are just waiting, cap in hand, for Barcelona. And that's held up our whole transfer window. James has spoken to around the club. Apparently the club feel that fans are being hysterical about lack of transfers. Also mentioned that United can't pay fees for players because of high prices, Dan. Yeah, but we've all spoken to people around the club, Dan. I know people who know people in the club. I know people in the club. Like, how do you think we knew that Ronaldo was injured 2 days before anybody else? So loads of people have spoken to people in the club. You know, people in the club thinking that fans are hysterical isn't true. Isn't new. They've always thought that. Man United not being able to pay high prices is incompetence. Man City probably got quoted 60 million for Phillips by Leeds. They got him for 43. Like, it's no longer an excuse to come out with we couldn't get the players for the prices that clubs wanted. That's just bad negotiations. If United get to the end of the transfer window and say we really wanted to buy Anthony, but Ajax wanted a ridiculous fee, straight away we know the answer. Well, they wanted £80 million because you didn't try and buy him until July. If you'd have tried to buy him in May, before they'd sold other players, you'd have got him for the right price. There is no excuse, is what I'm trying to say. Fans are not hysterical, and you have no excuse for incompetence. So, look, I don't mind about that, Dan. I really don't care. If they want to call us hysterical, that's blame shifting. If they want to say they couldn't get the players because the price was too high, that's incompetence. There are no excuses for Manchester United anymore. There is no excuses for Richard Arnold or John Murta or anybody else. You are out of excuses. This summer, you're on trial. You either deliver or you don't. But there will be no excuse. Nothing is going to be delivered as an excuse that United fans are going to swallow. They're not. Is there an excuse out there that makes you think, if we don't have a good transfer window, I'll go, oh, to be fair this or to be fair that? Other clubs, Arsenal and Man City, especially at the moment, are going out buying player after player for good prices because they're well organised and they've got efficient, competent transfer teams. Man United have got no excuse for that. Why can other clubs do it and we can't do it? Because we employ crap people. Simple as that. You just sold... No, Ricky, I'm not reading that. Mark, how about some positivity? Will you please do stand up with Goldbridge again? I'm hoping to, Rimbic. And 45 years I've followed this club and I've never felt so low. It's painful to see after what Sir Matt, Bill and Sir Alex continue to end up like this, says Adam. And the standard you walk past is the standard you accept, says Ricardo. There's a great line from a Manic Street Preachers song. If you tolerate this, then your children will be next. And look, we all think about the environment. That's very important. We all think about the world that we're going to leave for our children and their children. But, you know, in a less, weighted way, my kids support Manchester United. What's the Manchester United that we're leaving for our kids by sitting back and accepting this? And that's an important consideration. I support Manchester United because of my granddad. And the Manchester United that I got because of the generation before me was brilliant. My responsibility as a United fan to the next generation is to be vocal about things that are not right. This is not Manchester United. This is not Manchester United. The way this club is being run is not Manchester United. It is a business and it hurts. It hurts to the soul what's happened to this football club. We've gone from being something to be really proud and in love with to being something you're in love with but you're ashamed of. Like, it has become a corporate decay. And it's so sad. It's so sad that we were the club that had to be taken over by the Glazers. Do you think negotiations are slow because Judge left? And what do you think of Keane coming as head negotiator? IVI, the negotiations are slow because Barcelona are dictating when we get De Jong. And we've already said we won't do any business till we get De Jong. Our transfer window is being delayed because we are in the hands of Barcelona, and they know we won't walk away. To put transfers into perspective, Chelsea have lost Lukaku and Rudiger and haven't signed anyone, but I agree we need to be more efficient in the transfer market. Simon, I've been saying for a long time, and people have been telling me not, even though the information I've had is good, I've been saying for a long time, months, Declan Rice will go to Chelsea. What's happened in the last 24 hours? Declan Rice to Chelsea is starting to build. Like, I'm getting a lot of good information this summer. Sterling to Chelsea weeks ago, Rafinha to Arsenal, Declan Rice ages ago. There's loads. Unfortunately, I'm getting next to nothing on United, which makes me think we're doing next to nothing. You know, I can't get United news other than the Anthony one, which we had a couple of weeks ago. It's difficult because we're not doing anything. This reminds me, why are Barcelona delaying, says Leatherface? Because they're trying to buy other players. If I'm trying to buy Lewandowski for 40 million and Koundé for 40 million, and I'm going to Sevilla and buying and saying we haven't got any money, I cannot have 2 days ago I've just got 60, 70 million for De Jong. And they're also trying to sort out their financial issues as well. Barcelona don't want to sell De Jong until they've done some deals coming in. This reminds me of show Little Britain. Carol, receptionist, United fans ask, we submitted Erik ten Hag transfer request. The board say computer says no, says James. After Arsenal overpaid for Pepe, they revamped their recruitment department. After we overpaid for Maguire, we patted ourselves on the back, says Emily. We need more live streams like the other morning. My fiancée dubbed you Strollbridge, something about drunk Mark talking about Curry's quality. I don't even remember that, Wade. I don't even remember it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Tyler Jones says, if you believe that, then do something. You have 1.3 million people that would back you, says Tyler. Look, the United Stand community is a very powerful community and it will back anything, but I've always said it's just not worth trying to start a movement to get the Glazers out because there's too much division in the fan base. And so people should use this community and approach the United Stand if they've got good ideas. But people have a problem with the United Stand. People have a problem with fan content. So they want to do it their own way. You'll never do it if you don't unite the fan base. And we saw that with the Super League. But, you know, I've always said that. It's here to be used, but people don't want to use it. Let's have a look at what happens anyway. Thanks everyone for watching. Please smash a like on the video. Get your comments in below as always. And I'll speak to you soon. We have got the 8 o'clock show as normal. I'd love to say we'll have an afternoon show talking about a signing. You know, at some point it will happen, but I wouldn't hold my breath on it. Lee says that the journalists are on the Glazers payroll. Yesterday showed that. I'm not going to name those journalists' names. You know them. We mention them on here a lot. I can think of six journalists that are really close to Manchester United, and as far as I'm aware, when I checked last night, none of them had put their name to an article going in on the Glazers or the situation. It says everything. And the thing I love about the modern world is 16,500 people know who we're talking about. Maybe more people will watch this video, and the streets won't forget. They won't. I won't forget it. And when I get to see them face to face and they try and slag off fan content again, I'll say, hold on a minute. What did you do on June the 24th when the Glazers took money out of this club? What did you do? You hid. And yet we're meant to listen to you about this football club. You only do it when it suits you. You'll only jump on the bandwagon when it suits you. You won't do it like a proper journalist should. Thanks everyone for watching. Which all players will be like new signings next season? Martial and Pereira, says Akash. They're all like new signings. They've all been down the gym. Gymshark FC, they've all got 6-packs. Everyone's like a new signing now. That's what the club's doing. That's why they're putting pictures out of them in the gym. Because subconsciously they're saying it's like a new team. They're like new players. Look at the new Bruno. Look at the new Rashford. Look at the new McTominay. They're like new players. We've got a new manager. They're like new players. We finished second a year ago. They're like new players. We've got a new manager. We finished second a year ago. They're like new players. I know that's annoying, but why do you think the pictures keep going out? They're brainwashing us. They're trying to brainwash us. He's like a new player. Oh, here's another pic. He's like a new player. That's what they're doing. that's what they're doing because that's all they can do. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Smash the like on the video and I'll speak to you soon.